Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that mid-week break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Old Man Vin, joined every week by Jill Bryan. Just talking in the pre-show about Pocky.
Pocky, one of my favorite candies, but Vin wouldn't like.
Turns out, despite all available information when looking at the packaging, it is, in fact, not incense.
Yeah.
We had this discussion because one of our beautiful patrons had posted a picture. He's like, hey, I picked these up and I just caught it out of the corner of my eye on the Discord monitor. And I'm like, that looks like incense, my man. Then there was this long educational talk about how it's not incense. And I'm like, fine, cool. Turns out it's a junk food. It's kind of brilliant. Getting caught up. Jill, I did see that you were playing Genshin Impact incorrectly.
No, I was playing it correctly.
Everybody else is playing Genshin Impact. If you see the person just walking around looking at stuff, that's Jill.
Me. Yes, this is true. I know everyone else is more interested in the battles and whatnot, so I'm more interested in exploration, finding pretty pretty places in the game, very dreamy and surrealistic fantasy type places, and going through the stories. So that's my favorite part of Genshin Impact.
That's good. I mean, it's good to have a game like that, that's always what I'm on the lookout for, just something I can jump in, play around with, and, just take that little break from reality for a minute, man. It's good to have. So what have I been up to? Wow, hard at work this week. If you paid attention, Monday, I think on Monday, was November the 3rd Monday. Was that a Monday?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I put this out for patrons over on Interfacing Linux, the Razda X4 preview.
Oh, November 4th. Sorry. Monday was the 4th.
Well, November 3rd was Sunday. All right.
Yeah.
I put that up. It's a preview video, subject to change. As you know, I've already had to change it once because I forgot to add a longtime patron here on Linux Gamecast, Nemo Dak. He signed up as a patron over on Interfacing Linux, and I'm like, I got to redo those credits. So I had to redo the credits. And then when I did that, which was a good thing, because then I'm like, oh, I'm going to fix that other thing. It takes a long time to render these things out. I don't have like a 4K overhead camera. I'm using that Sony A5000. You remember the one I hacked with Telnet and did a little video on?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So that'll be on Interfacing Linux publicly for everybody Monday. This upcoming Monday. No ads, none of that fun stuff. Just old-fashioned goodness, because I'm crazy like that. Let's go ahead and get into it. Initially, this came from 9 to 5 Linux, which doesn't want to work on.
It doesn't want to load.
No, not at all. So Jill's going to tell you what's going on over there. There'll be a link in the show notes. Go check it out. But I'll be showing you the Fedora 41 magazine version.
Yeah, sounds good, Vin. So the Red Hat sponsored GNU Linux distribution, Fedora Linux, has a new release, Fedora Linux 41. And this is a big one. It features the latest stable version of the Linux kernel 6.11. And GNOME 47 is...
Fedora, come on. No, there's no here. That is like that. Somebody's like, hey, man, we got a big release. This is the graphic. This is the graphic you're going to use for the magazine. Come on.
It's cute.
Dude, it's like blue. I make thumbnails all the time. I'm like, this is something I'd make and be like, fine, I don't have time to make this right now, but sure, here's your logo.
Oh, that's a little cropped from the one that you see on the desktop, but it is actually cool. GNOME 47 is actually featured in the Fedora Workstation Edition, and it's now using Wayland by default, which is really cool. And in GNOME software, you can install the NVIDIA drivers with Secure Boot enabled. And this is really good for those of you that have laptops and had issues with that. There is actually a new spin of Fedora 41 called Fedora Miracle WM, featuring the Miracle WM window manager that's tiling, which is based on the Mir compositor. It's nice because the Fedora Miracle WM is actually a lightweight Wayland experience, particularly useful for low-end ARM and X86 devices. So very efficient. And once again, like previous releases of Fedora, like I was saying earlier, I love the wallpaper. This time it is a simple blue mountain landscape graphic with a blue sky and happy colored hot air balloons in clouds. I think it's nice, simple, and it's good as a desktop background when you want to get work done.
What if you have a crippling fear of hot air balloons in clouds?
Yeah. I think it's...
You ever really looked at a cloud? Clouds are very untrustful. Kind of shifty. They're just floating around up there, man. You don't know what they're really up to. Around.
Well, what's so funny, Vin, is this one is just so much different than their previous wallpapers, which are much more painterly, and a little even more surreal. They're usually very like trees in a blue forest kind of thing.
Oh man, I'm sure they are. I have no actual hate for any desktop wallpaper because I'm going to replace it with the color black.
Yeah, you always do.
Done. Like wallpapers, like my brain sees that and I'm like, that's wasted system resources.
Yeah, I normally do too. I have my preferred wallpapers, but it's nice when a distro comes with a really pretty one like that.
We need to talk about KDE. Been using KDE for a long time. We were talking about that in the pre-show. Go back and listen to the pre-show if you want the uncut version of the show. Hey, you're like, this show's too short. This show's like an hour long, man, every week. So if you want to go get all the extra bits that didn't make it in, give it a listen. But we're talking like, I haven't really used KDE actively, probably for coming up on 2 decades. Keep track of it. We talk about it on the show. I was always fascinated with what's going on in KDE, what's going on in GNOME. And I saw that there was a new This Week in Plasma out, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. Maybe. I'm like, out of memory.
Got a cool feature.
Of memory. Spooky, the most horrible notifications. Ladies and gentlemen, memory shortage avoided. Terrifying, petrifying, mesmerizing, stupefying. You know, that good old-fashioned out of memory error. So, yeah. Got me thinking. When was the last time you ran out of memory?
20 years? I don't know.
And what Linux? Jill just did there was like, when was the last time memory was expensive?
Yeah, I know.
20 years ago? Because there was a time where you were like saving up for like 8 megs. Yeah. You're like, ooh.
Absolutely.
Then it just seemed like overnight you went from 8 megs to like everybody had, 256 megs. You're like, when did that happen? Then the next thing you know, everyone had a couple of gigs. And now you're not even trying unless you got 16 gigs in the box. And what's 16 gigs going to cost you? Like, what, $50, something like that?
Yeah, like 40, 36, 40.
Depends on how much RBG you want on it. RGB, RBG, whatever. You know what I mean? The blinky stuff. Rainbow vomit, man. The nightmare critter. This could be very helpful. It's a little service that pops up and tells you when an application is killed to death due to being OOM, out of memory. On top of that, it even has that little helpful thing, Jill. I was like, hey, man, this is what caused your memory to be out of.
Like I like the Firefox one, Vin, because it says considered closing unused applications or browser tabs. Yes, browser tabs, that is a thing.
Oh, you mean my bookmarks? What do you mean?
So many people have like 20, 30 browser tabs open. I don't, because that's too much for me, but I always have a few. But yeah, I know people that live on their browser tabs, especially in Firefox. And that takes up a lot of memory. And this pop-up will come up when you run out.
When I hear that, they used to always like be the big joke, which has always perplexed me a little bit. I think this is an interesting. Now, my first thought about having an application that'll provide the pop-ups, this hasn't been merged yet, but it's working its way in there, is how much memory does the memory thing take?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, let's get a little recursive with it. No, it's nice little touch. It's a nice little touch.
It really is.
Harold Sitter is the one who developed this. So there you go. A little pop-up like, hey, Firefox. And I'm just like, I can't wait. Hi, if you've already skipped to this point in the YouTube video where the timestamp is, I can't believe KDE uses so much memory these days, or this is necessary.
Oh, actually, KDE's gotten very efficient.
They're going to make somebody mad.
Yeah.
I'm just having a laugh. Go ahead and rewind. I just talked a bunch of how this is a good thing, everybody. We're just having a laugh.
Yeah, we are. I use KDE almost on a daily basis on my Steam Deck.
I guess like one of the conversations we were having in our super secret Discord yesterday was I saw a motherboard. I think it was Asus or one of the A ones. They are releasing new motherboards with only 2 DIMM slots. We're going back that. And like my first thought was like, grr, that's dumb that I thought about it. I'm like, man, most people just buy 2 memory sticks. Like they just do it, right? They don't populate all 4. And I'm like, I get it. And then this, of course, devolved into what are we going to do when like, everybody goes full Apple and we all have SoCs, with the memory on the actual chip, and the upgrade option is to take it out back and blam and buy a new one. That's going to be rough. Then memory upgrades are going to matter. Like, that might, if you got Linux running on like your MacBook with 8 gigs of RAM, that could be a tough fit where something like this would make sense. I didn't get a chance to read through the repo on this. If it had some precog built into it, instead of telling me that something died, how about telling me like, give me a threshold? Be like,
when it's going to run out.
Yeah, right. It's like, you're running low, or like, let me know when I'm hitting swap heavy. Because hitting swap is not as obvious as it used to be. Now everybody, we have NVMe Gen 3, Gen 4 NVMe drives. Like, things might slow down a little bit, but it's not like, going from memory to a 5400 RPM drive was back in the day where you're like, whoa, I'm out of RAM. I know why, because things are getting chuggy. So,
yeah, but instead of Clippy, they could just have the little conky pop up. And let you know when you're out of memory.
And he could be out of memory. He could be like, it could be Conky Buddy. He's just like, you're out of, something. I forget, whatever. Something, I don't know. And then he just goes away and you're like, all right, that's the memory dragon.
Yes.
Do you got any Nerf guns around the house, Jill? You got any Nerf footballs, Nerf bats?
Because my husband has them for his work.
As a rodeo clown. No. Is that what Steve told you? He's like, I need them for work.
Yeah. It is something that's made there, yes.
I didn't have an option. They made me use them. Nerf guns. I saw this and I wanted to give it a quick mention for our Raspberry Pi stuff. I played around with the Nerf. Usually all the Nerf guns, all the dart sucker, like Pugum, the most fun I had with any Nerf product was their little footballs with the fins on the back. Because those things
those were really great.
Frighteningly accurate once you've learned how to throw them. And I could boop somebody on the head without harming them from afar. And it was great. It was great times. Just the, good old mildly irritating Ven. I'm like, again, I'm like, oh, what? I didn't hear it was a Nerf product.
It's a Nerf.
It's like wrecking somebody with a Nerf bat real quick. They're like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, you'll live. No problem. So when I saw this, blast from the past, this is not your grandmother's Nerf blaster. Cool. Nay, not even a little bit. This is the world's most advanced Nerf blaster. Oh, it goes by the name of Stinger. No, it doesn't glow in the presence of orcs. Or rooks, I should say. Probably.
Orcs.
Orukai. Did we get to the stingy part here in a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah? There we go. Let's see, 8 minutes and 52 seconds in the thing starts. So it does actually use the RP2040, the Raspberry Pi 2040, to sling darts with wicked accuracy. Look, there's even a pink version, Jill.
Yeah, I like the pink one, yeah.
Pretty dope. And FPS should be comfortably above 200 FPS. For those of you in the know, if you know what 200 FPS are, let me know in the comments, because I didn't feel like looking it up. It even manages 35 DPSs and detects gems. Now, I'm guessing DPS. See, I don't want to say, I'm completely out of touch with like Nerf technology, high-end Nerf technology.
Yeah.
There's a whole subreddit devoted to this stuff of like people just building these completely unhinged Nerf guns for no other reason, man, than they can. And I'm a huge fan of that type of thinking. guess they have these things. Like, I want to say darts per second, like 35 darts per second, I guess is like mechanically doable.
Something like
it's
that.
It's a tsunami. Yeah. I refuse to believe. I don't know what FPSs are from the gaming world.
Or they mean from the how fast it shoots it.
I don't know.
The air.
Somebody will know.
Pressure, something like that. I don't know.
35 DPS seems unhinged, but it also seems like doable given the mechanics of it. I don't know. But if you've been looking forward to like wrecking stuff with a gun, I think he plans on like actually selling these. Like these are very, very well made. You know, this isn't like I pooped it out on my 3D printer last week just out of curiosity. So he's got V2 out. I will put a link in the show notes to the Reddit thread so you can go, how do people use a new Reddit?
Yeah, I don't like it either, man.
Now, let's talk about our last little bit, which is Raspberry Pi touch display. That's not the original one.
Yeah, so this is cool. It's a new release of the Raspberry Pi touch display that boasts higher resolution. It's got a slimmer form factor, and it's still priced $60 like the original. The Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2, it has 720 by 1280 resolution, while the original Raspberry Pi Touch Display has an 800 by 480 resolution display. And some of the other features are 7-inch diagonal display, a true multi-touch capacitive panel which supports 5-finger touch, which is really cool, is fully supported by Raspberry Pi OS, and it's powered by your Raspberry Pi. So no need for an extra plug to power it, which is awesome. And the Raspberry Pi Touch Display 2 is compatible with most Raspberry Pi single board computers from Raspberry Pi 1B Plus onwards, except for the Raspberry Pi Zero series due to the lack of display serial interface port. So
do you hear that, Trackberry? You don't get a monitor.
Yeah, no monitoring for the Trackberry. No DSI port on that thing.
Yeah, it does use that like that other ribbon Gabriel. Like, what's that for? That's what the DSI port is for, and of course it's powered by the GPIO pin. So you got to keep that in mind. They're in stock. They're not sold out. I just popped over to Connecticut where I buy most of my Raspberry Pi and Pi related accessories, and Pi Touch Display 2 is $60.
$60 on SparkFun and Connecticut.
And you too can do the 5-finger death touch.
Yes, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you to Artherin, our Patreon advisor, for bringing this to our attention. He's awesome, and he's in chat now.
If you're a patron, you get access to our show notes. I put those out on usually about 4 days before the shows go. You know, if you want to see us like start sticking stuff together, or if you're in the Discord, there's a show suggestions area that you can just drop. I use that too. I'm lazy. I drop everything in there, and I'll wait for like a day before the show, and I'm like, oh, let me see what I put there. Then I'll go put out there and drop that into the Discord, which made it in the show notes, which we get to talk about on the show. So thank you for that. Yay. Speaking of Patreon, if you want to support the show, it'd be really cool. Head over to Linux Gamecast. There's not a lwdw.com. Don't go there. I don't know what's over there. Linux Gamecast. Site's been around forever. Come take a look at our Team 2 crew, Starship Troopers RPG. We just finished that up. We got Linux Gamecast. Of course, this show guides for, doing software, hardware type stuff. And of course, interfacing Linux. But we got a support tab. Yeah, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Gang, like bonus stuff. If you want more of this, you can't make the live show. You want to listen to that? A little custom RSS feed. We got you covered. Even got a video version that's like an hour long for your perusals. Access to our pre super shows and Discord. All the stuff thrown in, up to and including like the executive producers level, where you can just show up on Saturday night and be part of the show. Well, at least the pre-show if you want. No one's ever taken us up on that. We got plenty of executive producers. Yeah. We do. And they do show up, and it's always like, oh, you one or two times that's happening. I'm like, oh, you're going to like, oh, I didn't know I had my mic on. Click. Yeah, a bunch of different levels for that. Thank you for your support. And we get to do this. It's fun. Kind of fun. There we go.
Yay, Ven. We did it.
We're done. We can cue some bouncy music.
Bouncy music, and thank our patrons.
And roll them credits.
Thank you to our advisor, once again, Artherin. Our executive producers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ian, Iship, Kara, Ducky, Drummer, our Chicago Kicks Mule, Glorious Egg Roll, Basil Empty, Casicalism, our Sea Monsters. I know Joe is in there. That one is hard to read because it's blue. Our Death Notes, Nevin, Turnover, Martin, our Chairlings, Colin, Nmag, Nick, Jason. That's as fast as I can read those. But there's a lot more people there to thank.
Run,
but I just can't thank
fast
them all.
as you can. You'll never escape me. I'm the Linux man.
Yeah.
See you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of, the days in between next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And right now, bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.